The awkward reality for Prime Minister Carney is he governed in campaign poetry against Donald Trump, and now he has to govern in realpolitik prose.
Things are changing in media landscape in our country. You remember back in April, it was all Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. Then things transitioned and changed because we knew that that was just a tactic to win an election. Because we spoke all throughout leading up to the election. We talked about it after the election that we need the United States of America, whether you like Trump or not. We need them as part of a more diversified strategy moving forward. And I was told, and we were told by left-wing liberals saying, no, we got to take on Trump, got to take on Trump, got to take on Trump. And now we've been seeing over the past several weeks that we're not taking on Trump. We're going to be working with Trump. And guess what? CBC is now changing their tune, saying this is a good thing. We're going to be getting into all of this in the nitty-gritty of it all because we're about to purchase some F-35 jets from the United States of America, which I was told wasn't going to happen. But here we are. We're going to talk about all of this. Welcome to the Elevate Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. If you're getting value from today's episode, take the time to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us to grow. It helps us to get to new audiences and helps people see that there is something different than what the mainstream media has to offer. And now, let's get into our first story, shall we? So we saw this on CTV, F-35 jets. It's been a topic of contention these days because, well, we're giving a big lump sum of money to a United States weapons manufacturer. And we will be purchasing an F-35 jet, which we're going to be buying a bunch of them. However, and as well as they are a huge upgrade over the F-18s that we have. Huge upgrade. I was looking into them. I was like, oh, we jumping. This is going to help us out a lot. I'm not going to lie. It's a ginormous upgrade of what we currently have, which again, as someone who is able to view these things in a bipartisan perspective, yeah, it's something we probably need to do. U.S. has the best weapons manufacturing in the world. We live just north of them. Why don't we buy it from them? I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we're going to get it from Australia. Like Carney liked to pretend over the summer, oh, we did a security deal with Australia. Okay. Okay. No hate to Australia, but I don't really think of them when I think about defense, but Carney tried to surface that and throw that around as a truth that could be happening. So anyways, this F-35 thing is starting to really pick up steam. The military is saying, we're just going to go ahead and do this. We're just waiting for the government to say so. And now the debate begins, but even the media is leaning towards, hey, we should buy these F-35s from the United States of America. And listen to this news clip, listen to the price tag, and oh baby, it's interesting.
Preparations for the controversial F-35 fighter jet procurement project after the government blew past a late September deadline to review the plan. CTV's Colton Prale has more on what's delaying a decision to purchase the planes from the U.S.
Canada's next-generation Air Force will include at least 16 of these F-35 fighter jets. But Mark Carney says he's still reviewing the roughly $28 billion plan to buy an additional 72 fighters, something that's not slowing down the military's preparations for the planes.
We are definitely not in a position where we are waiting, so we are moving forward.
Canada's top general wouldn't say whether Ottawa should move forward with the F-35 purchase, a decision that's been mired in controversy after the Prime Minister promised to shift military spending away from the United States.
Defense for the very first time is going to be part of a bigger conversation, and I think that's what our Prime Minister is doing, is using all these chips for the negotiations that are ongoing.
Some argue Ottawa's indecision could show government doesn't fully appreciate the need for new fifth-generation fighters.
Utilizing this as a bargaining chip when you've already promised and used this as an example that you are seriously committed to the sovereign defense of North America, it defies some logic.
But others applaud the government for what they view as a more considered approach to procurement.
We also have to think more deeply in terms of what are the implications of making what are typically multi-decade decisions.
Described as a supercomputer in the air, experts say the F-35 would be a monumental jump in capabilities, the kind needed to defend the Arctic.
In most of the modern day battlefields where our principal ally, the United States, is operating, our F-18s have become more of a liability than they are a help because of the lack of technological advancements.
The Prime Minister says this decision won't just be made on the military merits of the F-35, but also on the industrial benefits to the Canadian economy. Colton Prale, CTV News.
What I thought was very interesting is us going from purchasing 16 of these bad boys to 72 extra on top of that. Again, as they discussed here in this piece, this is very different from the Mark Carney we heard back in April, that we're actually going to look to have more spending in Canada and, divert from the United States, which, again, anyone who knows anything about anything knows that's a stupid, and you knew it was a lie from the get-go. Because weapons manufacturing isn't exactly something that we're known for here in Canada, so what were we going to do? And even the F-18s that we currently have, they're old. You know what? Anyone who's ex-military, please reach out to the show. From what I've been seeing, these F-18s aren't even really battle ready to go. Like the hot war, can't really rely on them right now. F-35s, this is going to be an investment, especially in our security, especially as we're seeing what China's been doing lately. This might be a good investment. Just going to put that out there. But again, this debate is happening. Oh, we have to really think about, we're going to make this investment. What we're going to do, boom. Again, as people who have been consistent from the get-go, acknowledging the realities that are around us, this seems like this makes sense. Problem is, the liberals who are all chanting screw America are caught between a rock and a hard place on this one. You say, just get them. Well, then you admit what you were cheering for back in April was all a lie and all for show. Or you decide to say, screw America. We're just going to do it ourselves and we won't get anything and we won't be able to protect ourselves at all. And well, America is going to have to come to our rescue anyways. So you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place on this one if that was the stance you took back in April. And this was all fairly fascinating because we know this was the stance that Mark Carney took. And as time has gone on, over the months have gone on, we haven't got a deal yet. You know the story at this point. Mark Carney just, we saw this yesterday. Him looking like best buds with Donald Trump was very hilarious to watch this whole thing take place.
Going back?
I'll go back. I'm glad you upgraded me to president.
Oh, did I say?
Great stuff. That's good. I started as a
At least I didn't say that.
These guys are all best buds right here. Well, thanks for upgrading me to president because, Trump accidentally called Mark Carney president. And that was Mark Carney's kind of tongue-in-cheek quip. And Trump's like, well, at least I didn't call you governor. Slapping each other's arms. Oh, we're all good friends here. We're all good friends here. And this is what we saw in the Oval Office meeting as well. Mark Carney and Donald Trump just yucking it up, having a good time, laughing all the way to the bank at this point. Because we don't need to forget what the headlines were saying back in April and March. Carney says Trump must stop 51st state threats before U.S. trade talks. Carney says he asked Trump in White House meeting to stop calling Canada 51st state. America is not Canada. New Prime Minister Mark Carney says in rebuke to Trump. Carney says he's the best person to stand up to Trump. Won't give more details on 51st state conversation. Well, actually, 51st state talks haven't stopped. It was a joke that Trump made in the White House in the Oval Office with Carney there. It says, and the merger of Canada and the United States. Oh. At least I didn't call you governor. Yeah, it's nothing. None of this has stopped. All the tough talk from Carney is soft. Just remember these scenes. Remember these scenes.
If there's not a crisis, you wouldn't be seeing me. I am most useful. I am honest. I'm most useful in crisis. I'm not that good in peacetime.
He's admitted it. I'm here for the crisis. I'm here for the crisis. And then now the crisis that we're getting from Donald Trump, I guess, doesn't exist. So just kind of glossing over this right now, what we're seeing with these F-35 jets that we're going to purchase from the United States, is probably going to happen at this point. Just because, we know of the conflicts of interest and having money in specific investments, yada, yada. We just know that's happening. But what is the interesting part is seeing CBC and the mainstream media that was backing Carney and this hate Trump rhetoric throughout the election is now trying to run cover for Carney as well, to a degree.
The awkward reality for Prime Minister Carney is he governed in campaign poetry against Donald Trump and the United States, and now he has to govern in realpolitik prose. And that prose is, we continue to need the United States. It remains indispensable to us. Your last guest was proof positive of that. Despite the appeals of overseas diversification in our trade, the United States is hours away by rail and by truck, and it still is the most lucrative market in the world. So Mr. Carney has to make that clear to Canadians. We still need Donald Trump's America.
Oh, isn't it beautiful, baby? It's great to see CBC and people who are so pro-Carney being like, you have to admit, you got to admit it to Canadians, we still need Donald Trump's America. I don't know if I saw a gag reflex there from saying that. I don't think he liked having to say that. But again, it's just this lie that's been transposed across our culture that we don't need America. Screw Trump, screw all of them, screw the orange man, blah, 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 blah. Now here we are. Now you need the orange man. You need the United States. If you want to maintain our country at this point, we need to play ball. But not only do we need to play ball, we need to work on getting our product to other markets. And I swear to goodness, man, if Carney only builds a pipeline in the United States, that tells me everything I need to know. That's all I'll ever need to know. The fact that even just trying to like dress it up in this conversation. Well, he engaged in political poetry. Political poetry. He literally told us that Trump was going to break us and try to own us. What was poetic about that? I want to hear more about that. What was the poetic justice in that? And this is how it all works. It's just semantics with the left. Political prose. Political poetry. Just say what it is. He lied. He just lied. He engaged in political... Get out of my face. That's nuts. CBC even here, during this event in Egypt, is saying, oh man, it's so nice that Mark Carney is sucking up to Trump. Holy jumping.
Leaders, including Mark Carney from Canada, were in Sharm el-Sheikh today trying to make sure that this ceasefire sticks, that maybe this can lead to a lasting peace in Gaza and in the Middle East.
And I should just mention, Tom, while we were just summarizing what the president had to say, I was told that as I was looking down at my notes that the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, walked over to the president, shook his hand. So that is just one little moment. The president saying that Mark Carney wanted to be there, sort of called up and said, I want to be part of this as well.
Mark Carney called up and said, I want to be there. Please let me be there, Donald Trump. I want to be there to shake your hand. Okay, Mark Carney. Getting your... charter your private flight over here. That was just a funny story in itself. You've probably heard at this point, was the fact that there were no flights available, no planes available for Mark Carney to go over with his team. So they had to charter a private jet to head over to Egypt. Canada in a nutshell right there, isn't it? But again, it's just this rhetoric and change of focus of, if you've been following me at least since March, you've been seeing this. We predicted this was going to happen. We've been seeing this on the wall for a long, long time. We said, well, we hope Carney, sticks to his guns, but we know what's really going to happen. And that's exactly what we're witnessing before our very eyes. CBC tripping over themselves, saying, oh, look at Mark Carney, just love up on Trump. Oh, they made a joke here. At least I didn't call you governor. All this is going on. And I think what really came to mind through all of this is seeing how friendly Carney's getting with Trump, how cozy they're getting. I just think one thing. Everyone in the Liberal Party of Canada, everyone in the NDP, every premier, especially Doug Ford who supported Mark Carney, owes Danielle Smith an apology. She's the only one who stuck by our guns and kept going to work. She was called a traitor, un-Canadian, can't be trusted. She should lose her position as premier. She needs to resign. All because she dared to have a diplomatic relationship with the United States through all of this. She was made fun of by Mark Carney on Carney's campaign tour. She was ripped into by Doug Ford, ripped into by other liberals, saying that she just loves Donald Trump. She only cares about Donald Trump. She's trying to sell Alberta to the United States of America. If that's what she was doing that whole time, then what do you call what Mark Carney's currently doing? Is he selling out America, Liberal Party of Canada? Or is it just diplomacy? Which one is it? Can't have it both ways. All of you owe Danielle Smith a dang apology for her putting in the work. Not only was she putting in the work to have a good relationship with the United States and try to get something going, at least from her perspective as a premier of Alberta, one province, she had to deal with all the friendly fire coming from Canada at the same time. All the pressure that's being put on her. No, you need to bend to our will. Team Canada, Team Canada. And she says, no, this is foolish. Start acting like an adult. Here she is. Continue to do the work. You can hate her, you can love her. The reality is what the reality is. Mark Carney's playing ball with Donald Trump, and Danielle Smith was demonized before it was cool, at least by the left. But anyways, I'll be live streaming tonight with Reg. I'll see you there. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out.